John stared at the crisp, heavy parchment. It was an invitation, delivered by a courier who vanished as quickly as he'd appeared. The calligraphy was elegant, the language archaic. John felt a chill run down his spine as he read. He was being summoned. Not just to any meeting, but to a specific point in time, 1409, England. At first, John dismissed it as a prank. It had to be some elaborate joke from his eccentric university friends. Yet something about the letter's weight, its faint scent of antiquity, made him hesitate. A single, tightly rolled piece of paper was tucked within the parchment. It held a single line, stark in its simplicity. 500 pounds, no more, no less. Speak of this to no one. Intrigue battled with disbelief in John's mind. It was absurd, impossible. And yet a tiny part of him, the part that had always devoured history books and dreamt of bygone eras, felt a flicker of excitement. This couldn't be real, could it? He had just graduated with his business degree, ready to conquer the modern world. Now, he held what seemed like a key to a different time. What would he do? The clock was ticking. The letter was clear. The rendezvous point was a fortnight hence. That meant John had 2 weeks to make an impossible choice and prepare for an even more impossible journey. 500 pounds. That was the limit. Not of money, but of weight. What could he possibly take that would be both useful and transportable to medieval England? He couldn't tell anyone, the letter warned. Not family, not friends. He was completely alone in this endeavor. The weight of secrecy was almost unbearable. But the fear of ridicule and disbelief kept him silent. He immersed himself in research, devouring every scrap of information he could find about 1409 England. He learned about the reigning monarch, King Henry IV, and the ongoing war with France. He read about the Black Death, which had ravaged Europe just decades earlier, leaving its chilling mark. He studied the social hierarchy, the customs, the dangers. The more he learned, the more daunting the prospect of time travel became. His modern sensibilities clashed with the realities of medieval life. The designated day arrived with the inexorable certainty of sunrise. John, laden with a carefully chosen assortment of supplies packed into sturdy leather bags, stood at the designated spot. It was a secluded clearing in a nearby park, shrouded by the pre-dawn mist. He clutched the parchment, his heart pounding in his chest. As the first rays of sunlight pierced through the trees, a shimmering portal materialized before him. It was like a ripple in the fabric of reality, growing larger by the second. The air crackled with an unknown energy, sending shivers down John's spine. Fear warred with a strange sense of exhilaration. He had no time to hesitate. With a deep breath, he stepped into the unknown. The world dissolved into a dizzying vortex of light and sound. John squeezed his eyes shut, his stomach churning. When he finally dared to open them again, he was met with a scene of utter chaos. Gone was the tranquil park. In its place was a bustling medieval marketplace, a cacophony of sights, sounds, and smells. The stench hit John first, a pungent mix of wood smoke, unwashed bodies, and rotting food. He fought back the urge to gag. The noise was overwhelming. Hawkers shouted their wares, livestock bleated, and the cobblestone street echoed with the clatter of hooves and wooden wheels. People jostled him, their coarse clothes brushing against him. He felt utterly out of place. His modern clothing, a simple t-shirt and jeans, marked him as an outsider. He quickly pulled out a rough-spun tunic and trousers he'd purchased from a costume shop, trying to blend in. The fabric itched, but it was better than attracting unwanted attention. He needed to get his bearings, find somewhere safe to gather his thoughts. John's business instincts kicked in. He needed information, capital, and a strategy. He found himself drawn to the market square, the heart of commerce in this era. He observed, listened, and learned. He spoke to merchants, bartering with a few coins he'd brought for information about the local economy, the power structures, the opportunities. He realized that his knowledge, his understanding of supply and demand, of marketing and negotiation, were assets even in this unfamiliar time. He just needed to adapt them to the medieval world.